Hi everyone, welcome back again. Let's go ahead and start our event. And as usual, as we promised you guys that from time to time, we will invite more speakers and presenters to do more seminars and events for I have one, okay. Yeah, so to the purpose of the course is leadership youth, and we're doing a couple of more classes, English and the public speaking, and the third part of it is doing seminars from time to time. And the point is, the idea is to better equip our youth with the right skills and to help them to find their opportunities and better arrange and better run their life. Our speaker for today is it's a one of the JIRA board members. Her name is Nicole Madsen. She is the owner and operator of Maemark business. She is working e-commerce and digital marketing. She has a bachelor degree in American Studies. She is from Moorhead, Minnesota, and she act and do other like some other jobs and roles. She is one of the big community leaders in the area, and many of us and our organizations, we always like consult and ask for her help for doing works with a business or community work and stuff like that. And also she is a politician. So today, like Nicole Madsen would be presenting a seminar for us, and the title of her seminar is an overview of the 5 popular social media platforms and how to use them to advance your business and career. So Nicole Madsen, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole. Can everybody hear me? I'm going to assume
Hello,
yes.
Ms. Nicole. Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Can you help? Can you set me so I can share my screen, please?
No problem. I will make you the co-host.
That'd be great.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, I am going to share. We're going to do my whole desktop, even though it's going to look a little messy, but you'll see why. Okay. I'm just going to minimize this for a second. So we are going to talk today about social media for your career and business. And I'm going to just give you a quick introduction about me. That's me right there. My name is Nicole, as that said, and I have a company called Maemark, which stands for Madsen E-commerce and Marketing. And what I do in my business is I help small businesses thrive with superior e-commerce and digital marketing services so business owners can earn more revenue with less stress. So that's my background that I'm coming to this with. So we're going to talk about 5 social media sites today that you can use to advance your career and your business. And those 5 sites are LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. And we'll talk about what the different uses are for each of those social media sites, what they're best for, and then we'll take a look at some of them. We'll take a look at all of them. I have them pulled up on my other tab. So those are the 5 that we're going to look at. And before we look at those, there's one question that I like to ask myself before I undertake a new endeavor. And that question is, for what purpose? Why are we doing this? So for example, if you've decided you want to set up a LinkedIn account, that's great. But why? For what purpose? So if you have a purpose in mind of making connections in an industry, that's great, but then you'll have to set up your LinkedIn account in a way that helps you meet that goal. Or if your purpose is to find a job, also great. That maybe takes a little bit of a different setup on your LinkedIn account so that you can make that happen. So that's the question I want you to keep in mind, is for what purpose? When you're thinking about setting up or investing your time in a particular social media platform. So we are going to start with LinkedIn. And here's a little bit about LinkedIn. It is a social networking site for business, meaning people that are, you don't have to be a business owner. You can be a person who works in a job or has, works in a nonprofit organization, but it's focused around work. So Facebook is more personal social media, except for what we'll get into. But LinkedIn is a similar kind of platform, but it is focused around work and business relationships. LinkedIn also has job postings on it. So if you're looking for a job, LinkedIn is a good place to start. And I'll explain more about the best way to go about doing that. LinkedIn lets you put essentially what is your resume on the platform, which is great because it's a public website. And so people, if you want them to be able to find your resume and see you, they'll be able to. The number of users, it's hard to get sometimes a great idea of how many users there are on a platform because you can create an account and never come back, or some people use it every day, but there's about 756 million people that use LinkedIn, which is a pretty substantial number of people. And what LinkedIn is best for, in my opinion, is for making business connections. So connecting with people that you have met in a business setting or that you'd like to work with in some capacity, I think is what LinkedIn is really good for. So if we switch now to my Safari tab, this is my LinkedIn account. So I have it set up. When I log in, this is what I see. So in the middle here are brands and topics that I have followed. So for example, I followed Adweek apparently at one time. You can see if I hover over it, it says that I'm following. I did not follow reviews.io, but you can promote posts on LinkedIn that are basically an ad for your business. So that's why I'm seeing that. And then this person is someone I follow, and that person is someone I follow. If you see, this person has a first next to his name, that means he and I are directly connected. He and I are first level connections. So I'm connected to him personally. And then if we get down here, Jessica here, I see her in my feed because I follow Airtable as a topic. She's a third degree connection, meaning there's a couple layers of people between me and her, but there is a little bit of a connection there. So if I wanted to message Jessica, she could see that she and I have some connections, which is helpful when you're trying to establish a connection. It's nice to know that you have people in common that you can reference. I see you went to college with this person, or I see you worked with that person that I used to work with. Helps you make that connection with that person when you have that available to you. So that's kind of the middle. I don't use the middle of the page all that much. Some people use LinkedIn a lot. They post a lot on LinkedIn. I mean, you can post as yourself or you can post as your business. I don't really use it that much, but I do have my profile set up. So if we go over and look at my personal profile for myself, this is not my business profile. This is just for myself. You can see it's kind of like Facebook in that I have a cover photo and a profile picture and my name, and then you can have kind of a tagline right here. And it's helpful to keep this, if you're going to put something like this right here, you want to keep it very short and descriptive, because those words are going to show up in various places, like maybe on Google or on smaller boxes on your LinkedIn screen, and you want people to be able to see what that says under what, get the gist of what it is, who you are, what you do based on that description. So I can, I need to update my contact information, it's telling me, which I will do later. But then this is nice. This tells me who has viewed my profile, how many post views I've gotten recently, and how many times I've turned up in search appearances and when people are searching. So, for example, 18 people, I guess I don't know in what time frame, but 18 people have specifically looked for my profile, which is good. I mean, either they're interested in getting to know more about me or something that I do. I wrote a post, it showed up 70 times in people's LinkedIn feeds that we just looked at. And then the search appearances means that 9 times recently, someone has been looking for a person who does the things that I do, and they have found me. So if I were looking for a job, that might be really helpful information to have. And then down here, I can give a little bit of an about myself, and mine is a little, I don't have quite enough in mine. I should put a little bit more in there, but I'm not looking for a job. I'm not looking for, much from this. So I don't have enough here, but you really should have more than this. And then if you go down here, this is essentially my resume. So I can put all of my work experience in here, which I have. And you can see, go down here and you can put in different, your employers and your period of employment and what it is that you did for your work. And then I also have my education section down here. So it has my college, high school, my certifications are here too. And then I have my volunteer experience, which is also sometimes helpful to have on your website. And then the other thing that they have too is like a skills quiz. I don't know if that's really useful anymore. A few years ago, this was a big thing where people were you could take these exams and then it would show up on, LinkedIn as you got 100% on your English grammar exam or whatever. And maybe that is, maybe if you were an English language editor or proofreader, that might be an important skill to have on your LinkedIn. But I don't really think this is that big of a deal anymore. I don't see people using this as much as they used to. And then the last thing is you can have recommendations for your work. So you can have people say, they worked with you, what was their experience working with you? And that's also helpful so that when people are trying to learn more about you, they can see, what kind of a person you are in your career or in your business from other people that are your connections. So that is my profile. And then another thing I can do here, I just wanted to show you a couple things. So right here, I can click open to, and what it'll say is if I choose open to finding a new job, that means that someone like my employer can't see that I'm looking for a new job, but other people like people that are recruiting for a job, they could see that I am open to finding a new job. And again, that might be helpful because we saw that 9 people looked for me or did searches that I appeared in. And if I had myself marked as open to a new job, maybe one of those people might have sent me a message saying, "Hey, Nicole, we're hiring for this position. Are you interested?" And then the other thing too is you can show that you're hiring if your business is hiring. But I don't think many of us are going to be in that position right now. So the other thing I wanted to show you was, on this section about my experience, it's very easy to edit. I have founder here. I don't like that. It's not very descriptive. So I'm going to change my my experience for my current job title. I'm going to change it to e-commerce consultant and coach, because that tells people more about what it is I'm actually doing than just founder. That doesn't really tell you anything. If this toggle switch were on, then everyone I'm connected with on LinkedIn would get an update in their feed showing that, Nicole updated her work experience to say this instead. I'm going to turn this off because I don't have a particular need for everybody to see that I did this. But if I wanted to make a big announcement or something, I would do it like that. So I'm going to hit save. And now this is updated here. So that's my profile on LinkedIn. you are going to want to, if you set up a LinkedIn account, you're going to get the most out of it if you set this part up as thoroughly as you can first. Because then when people see that you're active on LinkedIn, they can go find out more about you if they want to. If you don't have this here, they can't find you. They can't find anything else out about you. And you may have lost an opportunity for a connection that might have been really valuable for your business or your career. So definitely fill this part out first before you do anything else on LinkedIn. So the next thing I wanted to show you is the job section. So if you're searching for a job, there's a lot of jobs available that are listed on LinkedIn. So it'll tell you, give you some suggestions based on your profile of what kinds of job searches you could do. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on this e-commerce consultant. It's going to probably default to the location where you are, the country where you're physically located, but you can change that to anything. If I wanted to look for e-commerce consultant jobs in California, I could. One day I saw a really cool job in Ireland. You know, I'm not moving to Ireland, but if I wanted to, I could look for e-commerce consultant jobs in Ireland. And then it's gonna pull up, it's gonna tell me all these different job listings that are available. Now, if we look at a couple of these, let's take a look at this one right here is interesting. So marketing consultant, e-commerce part-time contract for the company is Square, which is a pretty big company, and it's located in Dublin, but it can be remote as well. And then you can see here, 3 alumni work here. So I put in my profile that I attended Smith College, and it's telling me that 3 Smith College alumni work at Square, which is helpful for me to know because maybe I need, you know, I want to connect with them and say, hey, I'm applying for this job. You know, is there something I should do to give my, you know, have a better chance? Is there someone you know in this department that might be able to help me? So that's why this is helpful to have. And then you can see this job was listed 6 days ago and there are 24 applicants. So if I click on this right now, it's going to tell me a little bit about the job right here. It's going to tell me there's 1,000 to 5,000 employees at Square and their industry is internet. And then if I paid for the premium version of LinkedIn, which is pretty expensive and I don't have a need for it, but if I were applying for a job and I could afford it, I probably would have it because it can show you how you compare to the other applicants. So it will compare your resume to theirs and let you know, oh, you know, the applicant pool has these skills and you are maybe missing this one skill, or you know, you have a really good resume for this job. Like that might be interesting information to have when you're applying for the job. So then the next thing you could do is actually click the apply button. We could apply for the job right now and fill out the application from LinkedIn. And then if you look here, you can see the description of the company and the job and what you'll be able to do. They list qualifications: fluency in French and or additional European language skills. I only know English and I am a little bit conversant in Italian. So that probably I'm not qualified for this job. I have some of the other qualifications, but not that one. And then this even better, I don't have a master's degree, so probably I'm not the best candidate for this job, but that's good to know because now I don't have to click the apply button and take that time. So I can see from this job listing whether or not I want to apply for the job. And then if I do, I can just hit that button and apply for it. So that's very useful information to have available to me. Some other things here we can do. We can ask for jobs that were posted at any time, or let's say we just want to look at the ones that were posted in the last week because we don't want the old stale ones that maybe they're not actively looking and they just haven't taken it off LinkedIn yet. So these are the ones that have been posted in the last week. And then we can also choose an experience level. So let's say we're looking for an entry-level job. Okay, well, there is one. And there's only one applicant, and LinkedIn tells me your profile matches this job. So that's helpful information to have. Again, maybe now this is the right job for me to apply to. So maybe I'm going to click that button and do apply. You can also do some other filters like part-time, remote, and then easy apply means if you can apply via the button or if there's another link that you have to click out of LinkedIn to go to see it. So that is really the overview, I think, that of what is the most useful in terms of like the features of LinkedIn. In terms of how to use it for business and career, I would say the best thing is making business connections. So a lot of times if I will go to a meeting or an event and I meet a new person and I want to be able to stay in touch with them, as soon as the event's over, I will go on LinkedIn and send them a connection request so that I remember who they are and that they remember me. And if I need to talk to them again, I have their contact information via LinkedIn. And then the other thing is, again, having your resume set up on LinkedIn on your profile so that if you're looking for a job, or maybe even if you're not, you just never know what kind of opportunities might be available to you that you might be missing out on if you don't have a LinkedIn profile. So I think that's about everything for LinkedIn. We're going to take questions at the end. So if you do have questions, just hold on to them and we'll come back at the end. We're going to go back to our slideshow. Nope, wrong button. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Facebook. And I think just about everybody knows Facebook. Obviously, it's personal social networking, but you can also set up a page for your business. And we're going to look at that in a minute. And then the other thing you can do is Facebook ads, which we'll talk about a little bit more too. Facebook has a lot of users. There's about 2.7 billion people that have a Facebook profile. I don't know that every single one of those 2.7 billion actively uses their Facebook, but a lot of people are on Facebook. And so in terms of business and career, probably the best use for Facebook would be promoting your brand. And so we're going to look at what that means a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to my window over here. So this is my business Facebook profile, which is a different thing than my personal Facebook page. And so for your business, you can set up a business page that looks similar to your Facebook page for your personal, your personal page, but there's a lot more that you can do with it. And so one of the things, I don't think I have this, I don't have any services listed, but if I did, I could list my different services and then people could just book my services directly through Facebook if I had it set up like that. I don't have reviews turned on, but if I did, I can show you more in a minute. The other thing you can do, you can actually sell products through Facebook. If you have physical products that you want to sell, you can sell them on Facebook. One thing I have set up on mine, if we go to photos, is I have a photo album called testimonials. And so when I get a customer testimonial, I make it as an image and then I add it to my Facebook profile, or I'm sorry, my business Facebook page, so that it's there anytime anybody wants to see, it's not going anywhere. Those are there permanently. So that's as long as I leave them there anyway. So that's one of the ways that I can promote my brand on Facebook. And then also events. I did an event not that long ago with, let's see, this is the event. I did an event on sales funnels. And so I did a post. I didn't set up a Facebook event because the host of the event had it set up, but you can set up events and you can see here. So I did this post and now you get like, on my personal Facebook page, I don't get this kind of information, but on my business page, I do. So I can see that 39 people saw this post in their feed and 4 people engaged with it. So engagements are things like they clicked the like button or they shared it with someone or they clicked through to the actual link on the page. So I have about a 10% engagement rate, which is pretty good. I don't have a lot of people that I've reached here, but if I wanted to reach more, I could boost my posts. So what I would do with that is I would create an ad and I would have to pay for it. So for this particular ad, it's just defaulting to the entire United States, basically adults in the United States. And it tells me it's gonna get me, it's gonna reach between 812 and 2,300 people, and I'm gonna have this many of 86 to 248 clicks. I'm gonna pay $35 for that. Now that's, I mean, depending on my situation, that's actually a pretty good deal for advertising rates. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I'm gonna go ahead and say yes, I don't wanna do that. So you can do, there's lots and lots of things that you can do with your Facebook business page. As I said, you can sell products, you can add appointment bookings if you're offering a service that you can that you can, like a hair care, nail salon, auto repair. You can do your appointment bookings through Facebook if you want to. You can host paid online events if you want to. You can post a job if you have a job listing. So there's a ton you can do with Facebook business page. I will say there's one difficult thing about having a Facebook page for your business, and that is that if you want to get a lot of views and engagement, you are going to have to pay for it. There's a limit to how much what's called organic reach you're going to get, and what organic reach is just like the people that are seeing it without you doing any paid advertising. And so if you have a business and you want to get a lot of views to your business Facebook page, most of the time, most likely what you're probably going to have to do is pay for advertising. And right now, Facebook advertising is pretty difficult because there was just an update to the Apple, mobile operating system. And so a lot of people, if you have an iPhone, you've probably been asked when you open an app, it'll ask you if you want to be tracked or not. And most people are choosing not to be tracked, which I think is good. I did the same thing, but that tracking is part of how Facebook could show ads to people that they were the most relevant for. And so right now it's very difficult to set up Facebook ads that are going for your business that are going to be relevant for, your potential audience. And so you're going to end up spending more money to get maybe less effective advertising. So that's something to keep in mind for a Facebook business page. In terms of how Facebook can help your career, in my opinion, the best thing to do is not to put anything on your personal Facebook page that's going to hurt your career. There's not a lot you can do. There are some things you can do on Facebook to benefit your career, but the biggest thing that you can do to help yourself career-wise on Facebook is just don't do anything that's going to be publicly embarrassing for your employer, because a lot of people end up losing their jobs that way. It's easier to just maintain a very like a personal Facebook profile that is not offensive to anybody than it is to like try to build your own personal brand on Facebook, just given the way the platform is set up. So that's what I have to say about Facebook. So again, we'll take questions at the end. So I'm going to go back to my slideshow. So the next one we're going to talk about is Twitter. So Twitter is more about personal social networking, but you can also use it to build an audience for yourself. In terms of number of users, there's about 199 million Twitter users, which is less than Facebook and LinkedIn, but it's still a pretty healthy audience. What Twitter is best for, in my opinion, is really for amplifying a message. And I'm going to also talk a little bit about building a personal brand on Twitter. So we're going to take a look now. I have Twitter. I don't use it for business. I really use it for following people and topics that I'm interested in. But I wanted to show you someone I just discovered very recently. This is someone, I don't actually know her name. She goes by PhD Notion. And I just found her on Twitter not very long ago. Looks like she just joined Twitter in May of 2021. She is a student in England, and or in the United Kingdom, I should say. She's in Wales. She is someone who uses a productivity platform called Notion. And I'm trying to learn Notion. It's a little bit complicated. And so she was just someone that I stumbled across as someone who is teaching Notion and selling Notion products. And so I started to follow her, and I don't really know much about her at all, except that she's very good at Notion. And so I'm following her because she has information that I would like to learn about. But also, I ended up buying one of her products because I can see from her Twitter account that she's obviously an expert in the thing that I want to learn about. And so because she's on Twitter, she's talking about her area of expertise, and it's clear to me that she knows more than I do about it, and I want to learn. I ended up buying one of her products, and I would be happy to buy more of some of her products. In fact, if we go down here a little bit, I don't know how far we have to go, but there was a few days ago, she was talking about a product that she's building, and talking about the process of building it. I guess it's been a few days. And I'm so interested in the thing that she's building that I can't wait to buy it as soon as she has it ready. And the reason I know about it and what she's doing is because she's sharing it on Twitter as she goes. So that's a really good example, in my opinion, of how to build your personal brand on Twitter. She's becoming a person who is an expert in this area, and all she did was sign up for Twitter and just talk about the things that she knows. And now she's getting people like me to pay her for her expertise based on just the information that she's tweeting out. So to me, if you want to use Twitter for business or career, that's the most effective way, in my opinion, is to really build your personal brand and to talk about your own area of expertise in a way that is helpful to people. And what will end up happening is some percentage of those people will end up asking you for help that, they're willing to pay for. So that's it for Twitter. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Instagram. So Instagram, again, is personal social networking, but Instagram is focused on images and videos. And I just read somewhere, I don't know if this is accurate information, but I just read that Instagram is really trying to get its users to focus more on video than on still images. Instagram was built as a platform to share static images. And now I think that they're focusing more on getting people to share videos. I just read that. I don't know if it's true, but it makes sense to me. Instagram has a huge number of users. It's not as big as Facebook, but it's still 1 billion people, which is a lot of people. And again, I don't know that every one of those people uses Instagram on a regular basis. But I have an Instagram account and I check it sometimes. And so I'm sure I'm counted in that 1 billion, just like people that are on it all the time. So because Instagram is based on photos and videos, it's really best for promoting either personal products, meaning things in the home, fashion, hobby space, or visually appealing products and services, meaning things that photograph well, because those are the things that are going to get people's attention on Instagram. If I were selling, if I were selling pens on Instagram, I could do that, but I would have to take really nice pictures of my pens, because that is what matters, is the photography and the videography on Instagram. So let's take a look at Instagram for a second. Okay, and again, I have a personal Instagram. I don't have a business Instagram because my business is really not that visually appealing. But this business belongs to a friend of mine named Chris, and he makes neon signs and art. And so you can see how beautiful his work is, and the reason that it works so well on Instagram is because it takes nice pictures. And he takes good pictures of his work. That also makes a difference. If you're not taking very good pictures of your work, it's not very useful on Instagram. But you can see, you can really get a sense of what it is that he does here. And I think I don't know how much, he has sold off of Instagram, but I know that he does a good job of showcasing his work there. And I can tell you, like, this particular sign is one I would love to buy myself. I don't know. I was going to check to see if he still has it. And I don't own a yarn shop, but I am a knitter and I really like this sign. The other thing I follow on Instagram is a lot of people that sell yarn, because as I said, I am a knitter. This is one person here. Her name is Mud Punch. I don't understand it, but that's okay. But she makes, what she tweets out is just pictures of color combinations of yarn that she's planning to dye. So she hasn't actually made the yarn yet, but these are just color combinations that she's put together. But it really gets people interested. So because she only sells a certain number of her products at any given time, and so people then are excited to find out which one of these are going to be available in her next batch of products. And you can see here, these are how those color swatches translate into the knitted products. And you can see probably maybe why I follow her, because she's getting my attention with these different pictures, so I can say, oh, I hope that I can order this yarn next time because I really like it. And then the other thing she does that I think is really important on Instagram, if you're someone who makes products, is show how you make them. And so this is how she dyes the yarn. And I love these pictures of watching the yarn, seeing the yarn in the different jars and how the yarn is made. I think people really like to see how things are made, especially, you know, we live in a world where a lot of things are mass produced and we don't really know how things are made. So those are some important things I think about Instagram, is just make sure what you're doing on Instagram has visual appeal, because it is a visual platform, and that you're showing people kind of more than just the thing. You're showing how you make the thing, or how that thing came to be. So that's Instagram. So let's go back now to our slides. Okay, so the last one I'm going to talk about is Reddit. And I don't know if people know a lot about Reddit. I use Reddit every day. So Reddit is a message board, and there are people all over the world. Every topic you can imagine, you can talk about. There's a place for it on Reddit. Mostly it's devoted to text-based messages, so it's like a message board. But you can also add images and videos. There's about 430 million people that use Reddit, so it's smaller than some of the other platforms, but that's still a lot of people. And in my opinion, the best things that you can do on Reddit, that Reddit is best for, are learning and teaching. And I'm going to show you a little bit about Reddit if you're not familiar with it. So this is Reddit. You can follow different communities. They're called subreddits. And so I follow a lot of different communities. This one is called Our Cooking. So if you have questions about cooking, this person wants to know, how do you cook rice properly? I think that's a great question. I don't always know. I put it in my machine and push the button. I don't actually know what the rules are. Crypto technology is something I'm interested in. So I'm following the crypto technology subreddit. And I don't know what this means. I don't know what that word, I don't even know how to say that. But somebody does, because they're asking the question, and then other people are going to answer it for them down here. See, I think it's because I don't know what any of these things are. I don't know. I know what Ethereum is, but I don't know what else they're talking about. But these people do, and they're sharing their knowledge. I've got a cute dog right there. This is an ad for Best Buy that just shows up. You can advertise on Reddit as well as the other platforms. This is someone showing their art that they made, which is really cool. This is a subreddit called Data is Beautiful. And it's this, I don't know what this game is, but this is a relationship between all of the puzzles in this game. I don't know. This one's about sales. just generally discussion about sales. There's what I like though, I follow a couple of subreddits, and one of them is e-commerce. And so what I find valuable in this e-commerce subreddit are a couple of things. This one I think is really good, just as an example. This person had a terrible store conversion rate and basically doubled it. And what conversion rate means is the percentage of people that visit your website that actually make a purchase. And so 0.52%, that's not 50%, that is half of 1% of their visitors were making a purchase, and now it's doubled. And that's really good. And so this person shared how it is that they managed to do that. That is valuable information to have. And it's all laid out right here, this person's personal experience of doing this. I think that's super helpful. And it's some of these things I might not have thought about myself, but that's really good information. And then the other thing with our e-commerce is sometimes people ask questions that I know the answer to. And so I can give them my opinion. So this one, what is the best e-commerce platform? I have some opinions on that. And so if I wanted to, I could share that information with them based on my professional experience. For me, I have not gotten any clients for my business from these comments on the e-commerce or the other various subreddits, but I probably could if I tried to do it that way. I don't like to use Reddit to kind of drum up business for myself. I like to just learn and then share the knowledge that I have. But there are ways to engage on Reddit in a way that is beneficial to your career and your business without being someone who is spamming or being, annoying to people. It's a pretty fine line. You have to be very careful, but I think it can be done. But mostly, I think in terms of professional use of Reddit, it really is just a really great platform for learning, keeping up to date on what's going on in your industry, and sharing what it is that you know so that you can be helpful to people. So that is the overview that I have of those 4 social media platforms. And now I am happy to take any questions that you have. I'm sorry, 5 platforms. And now I can take questions if you have any.
Thank you, Nicole, for that valuable lecture. So as you said, yes, let's open the door for questions and see if our participants have questions related to those 5 platforms.
Dahlia? Oh,
question. So, Miss, thank you for this presentation. It was like so beneficial for us, and nice to meet you. So my question is that, like, in your opinion, which of this application is the best one, like for a career or for get a job or business?
Well, again, we have to go back to the question, for what purpose? And if the purpose is to get a job, I would say the best one would probably be LinkedIn. The only exception might be, for example, if you were, let's say, if you were a photographer, then the answer would be Instagram, because that is really a photography-based application. But for the most part, generally speaking, LinkedIn is going to be the best one to use in terms of building your profile, like your resume on LinkedIn, and then using that. When you have that built out on LinkedIn, you have your profile set up with your education history, whatever work history you have, your interests, and all of that, that's visible to people when you are applying for a job. And so I think that is the most helpful platform in that instance.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Dahlia. Others? Any other question that you guys want to ask Nicole Madsen? I can help with the language in case if you want to say in your language. أجاوبت زمان خوشی بجن هر دیسا عادی از قابو ترجمه بی از قام ترجمه و ترجمه شکم هر بسیار تشتكو هبت. No questions? Some they were like some of them were Nicole, we have a WhatsApp group also that we remind each other of our classes. So some of them were saying that the net is not good. So that's one of the issues that we always face with our course and stuff like that. So, but I told them that it's recorded and they will have access to it later also.
Sure. And I'm going to put in the chat, I put my email address. And then I'm going to put in my LinkedIn profile. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, or if you have any questions that you'd like to send via email, I'm happy to help. We do have a question in the chat. It says, which application is more safe? Because as we see in social media, each day of the page, people's social media is stolen. I will say, the safest one is the one that you set up what's called two-factor authentication. Let me grab a link here. What that means is you probably have seen various websites. They'll ask you like if they can to text you a code before you log in, or I have one application I have on Instagram. I have this, there's a, let me find it. Sorry, Authenticator. One second. You can download an app that gives you authentication codes so that you can verify that it is you that is logging in. So in terms of what is the safest one, whichever one, any of them that you turn on two-factor authentication, that's really important. Instagram gives you the option of adding the Authenticator app, which is a separate application that generates a new code for you every 30 seconds and on your phone. And if the code on your phone doesn't match what you type in on Instagram, it will not let someone into your Instagram. So that's, I mean, I don't have the Authenticator. I haven't seen the option to turn on the Authenticator app on any of them except Instagram. Doesn't mean it's not possible, but I just don't have that. But that's what I would say is just make sure you have two-factor authentication turned on. And if you can use that app, the Authenticator app, that is really helpful.
Miss, like, as you know, first I really love it, and
I'm sorry, what was that? Dahlia, I missed what you said.
But recently I just noticed that everyone just like but related to honesty. Yes, Miss.
Oh, I can't hear you very well. You're kind of coming in.
Can you hear me
now? I can hear you.
now?
Yes.
Okay, I said like related to Instagram. First, I really love the idea of that application, but recently I just realized that each one just try to make an account just to increase his or her followers.
Okay, I'm sorry. What is the question?
Like I think like Instagram is like we can say Facebook and like better than Instagram or not?
Is Facebook better than Instagram for getting
Like
more followers, or?
Yeah.
No, I think honestly, if what you want, if you're looking for people that you don't know to follow you, I would say Instagram and Twitter are the best places for that, because by default, what you post is set to be public. On Facebook, mostly what you post is, depending on your settings, is mostly seen by the people that you know, unless it's your business account or your business page. But if for your personal account, like let's say we go back to the PhD Notion person that I have, that's her personal account, but she's teaching what she knows and also using it to sell a product. It's not technically a business account. It's really her personal account, but she's using it in that way. And she's getting strangers like me to follow her. If she were on Facebook, I would have no idea how to find her, where she is or anything, because it's not really her business. It's a kind of a thing that she's selling, but it's not the total focus of her work. She's a student who's just happening, she's teaching and on this other topic too. So I think if you're looking to build an audience of people who don't already know you, I would look at either Instagram or Twitter for that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I understand you, but like on Instagram, sometimes when you go for an account, you say like he or she has 4,000 followers. So most of them are inactive and like they just steal followers.
Yeah, or they buy them. Yeah, you buy
they
them.
buy money, buy like credit card, buy.
Yeah, that is true for sure about Instagram.
Okay. Do you guys have more questions for Nicole Madsen? Or I will give it a couple of minutes before ending our session for today. Let's see if any one of you have any like a question or anything to direct to Nicole. So Nicole, one of the things, so the time management, how much time do we how much time do we need if like to manage those 5 or like some of those platforms? What kind, like how, like are they connected? Like when you post somewhere, can that directly go to other stuff like that?
So there are other kinds of software that you can use to basically send something out to all of the platforms at one time. So there's an application called Hootsuite, Hoot like an owl. Here, I'll put it in the chat. I know there are other ones that do this that are less expensive, but this is the one that I've used in the past. And it allows you to post on multiple different platforms at one time, so you don't have to go onto each one separately and write your post. Facebook and Instagram can be connected, or I should say Instagram can be connected to Facebook so that your Instagram post can go onto your Facebook. I would say in terms of time management, that's a tricky question because I don't always do a good job of it myself. But I think the thing to do is to just start with one platform and start investing in, again, we go back to the question, for what purpose? What are you trying to do? Like if you're deciding you're going to start out on Twitter, what is your goal on Twitter? Is it to sell a product? Is it to create there's something that some piece of information that you have that you think other people would be willing to pay for? So then if you were going to spend maybe, half an hour or so a day on Twitter, looking for similar, people that have those same interests and maybe following them, maybe engaging with them on Twitter, replying to their posts, over time, you would build that audience of people that were interested in that same topic. And then once you have people following you, then you can start to talk about the things that you're doing. you know, you can waste a lot of time, as we all know, on social media. I think if you're intentional and you really define what your goals are going into it, it makes it a lot easier to manage your time.
Thank you, Nicole. Any other question?
Sir, it seems that no one has any question.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Nicole Matson, for the valuable and great lecture that you did, talking about an overview of those 5 platforms and how we might use them for building our business and careers. For our participants, our course students, I just would like to let you guys know that I am in conversation with a couple of leaders and scholars to prepare for a couple of more seminars that will be coming in the coming days. And also to remind you that our English class is tomorrow again at 9 p.m. Iraqi time and 1 p.m. Minnesota time. Thank you so much for joining us for today's seminar, and see you guys tomorrow.
See you.